What is up, everybody? Hope you're having a great day. Beautiful day where I am. Gonna get outside and enjoy the sunshine later and, live that summer life. Before I do that, I really want to make this video because I think this point needs to be hammered home for a lot of people, myself included. And in my short 23 years of life, if there is one thing that I've taken away thus far, is that your friends matter. Your friends matter. Who your friends are matters. What your friends do matters. These things really matter. And they matter more than I think we give it credit for. I really think we underestimate the power and the influence our friends have on us, and how we can oftentimes take on their attributes just to fit in with them. And it oftentimes happens to our detriment. And so the point I want to make here is that you need to ditch your loser friends, and you need to pick your new friends wisely. If you have friends that are the type that, sit around, don't really have much ambition for life, they don't really go the extra mile, all they really want to do is sit around and drink and, be lazy and complain about things, they don't ever really want to do anything. If you have friends that don't really match your values, they don't really, make you feel good, and most of all, they don't really help you make you become more of who you can be, you need to ditch those friends. You really do. And if you have those friends right now, for whoever sees this, you need to ditch those friends as soon as possible. You need to cut them off, and you need to go find new friends. Now, the reason why a lot of us oftentimes don't ditch our friends when we know deep down in our gut that we should is because we're afraid of being alone. And not just being alone, but it's being alone for really what could be a small period of time. Because let's say you do ditch your friends and you're sick of them, and you know that you hanging around them is not good for you. If that's the case, sometimes you might have to be alone for a little bit. You might have to go out there into the wilderness on your own. You might have to go down into the cave, metaphorically speaking, and take some time to yourself, to develop some skills, to develop a new way of seeing the world, a new way of seeing yourself. Could be in any number of things. And then when you emerge, you come out a new man, and you're ready to start this new chapter in your life. How many of you guys have done self-improvement? You've tried to improve over and over and over again, and you keep seeing yourself falling back into the same old patterns every single time you try to set out on this path of improvement, right? You find it really hard to stay on that narrow path because the path is really narrow. It's really thin. It has a lot of distractions to the side of it that will try to pull you in all kinds of different directions. But you have to stay grounded and follow that path. How often do you find yourself trying to stay on that path, but you keep drifting off? And what you find is that it feels like you keep repeating the cycle over and over and over again. And it really feels like you're not getting anywhere. I'm going to tell you, a big part of that is because the people you're surrounding yourself with are pulling you down. They're pulling you down. These people don't care about you trying to become better. Matter of fact, a lot of the time, they don't want you to. They want you to stay the way you are, whom you're not satisfied with. So they don't have someone greater to compare themselves to. They want you to stay the way they are. So nothing challenges them. And so you got to ditch those people, man. You really do. I spent a lot of time in my younger years growing up, and even into some of my adult years, with the wrong crowd, with the kind of crowd I shouldn't have been spending my time with. I knew the crowd I should have been spending my time with, but I didn't spend my time with them because, to be honest with you, I was scared. I lacked self-esteem. I made it up in my own mind that I wasn't cool enough for those guys, that I was weird, and that I was kind of nerdy, and that I didn't belong in those groups. I didn't belong with the cool kids, right? The kids that, worked out, played sports, were fun to be around. People liked them, right? Guys respected them. Girls loved them. They had people around them all the time. And I remember I used to think that they were a bunch of assholes, and that for a guy like me, I was the one who was in the right. But that wasn't true. And I ended up spending time with people who were not druggies or a bad influence in that way, but guys who didn't have the ambition for life, right? Like I said. The kind of guys that complained, that thought less of themselves, that accepted this lot that they were given in life, and didn't try to go after anything more. Guys that, would rather sit at home on a Friday night than go out and socialize. The kind of guys that would sit at home on a Friday or Saturday night and play Dungeons and Dragons rather than going to the football game, right? Or going to prom, or homecoming, or whatever. That's the group I spend my time with. And you know what? Long story short, it kind of got me nowhere. I wanted to be different. I wanted to be more than who I was currently being, but easier said than done sometimes. And I stuck with those guys, and things didn't really go anywhere. And so it wasn't until later that I realized how important it is who you surround yourself with. You become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. You do. So if you want to be with people, surround yourself with people that embody who you want to become. Surround yourself with people that are good at things that you may not be so good at. And don't be intimidated by those people. Learn from them. Ask them questions. Figure out their methods. Rather than, feeling like you're not worthy somehow because they're a step above you in this facet of life. Learn from them. Don't get envious. Don't get mad. Don't be intimidated. You'll find a lot of the times those kind of people who really carry themselves in a kind of a respectful way, I should say, They seem to have things together. And nobody has everything together, obviously. But they carry themselves in a way. And people respect them. They're able to go around and make people feel a good way. And people like them. You should hang around with people like that. You should learn from people like that. Those are the kind of people that you need to be spending your time with if you want to have friends. And so, oftentimes, what we do is when we look for friends, we end up being friends with people that share the same problems we do. And we become friends with these people because there's something that we can relate to on that basis. But oftentimes what this can do is just lead to a negative downward spiral. No one really gets anywhere, and you guys kind of, you kind of end up really going nowhere, you know? You both kind of pull each other down. And so become friends with people that are something you want to become. Because if you don't do this, man, I'm telling you, if you ignore this thing, right, you're going to end up, your whole life could go by. And you're going to end up spending your time with people that don't match your values, that you don't really share a lot in common with, that don't really get you pumped. You're the one always trying to pump them up, right? Or it's always going to feel like you're going to be relying on them to have some fun, right? You're going to end up, you know, doing things you don't want to do, talking about things you don't want to do. Man, it even goes down to you ending up being with women that you're not really attracted to. You know? A lot of guys out there want to get good with women. Sometimes the best thing you can do is be friends with the guys who are good with women. Right? And I'm not saying you should become friends with somebody just for that sole reason. But be friends with the guys that know a lot of hot girls. Be friends with those guys. Not just because you want to get a bunch of chicks, but to bring it back to my point. Be friends with people whom embody what you want to see yourself as. And so that's all that this is about. And so, going forward, pick your new friends wisely. Don't just accept anybody who comes your way. Really look at this person. Really see, do they match what I want? Do they match my same ambition for life? Do they care about being better? Right? Or are they just kind of here to do the bare minimum, and the only kind of fun they want to do is sit around and have beers? All right? Sure, is there a time to have a beer every now and then with your buddies? Of course. But if that's all you're doing, what the hell are you doing? Better off spending time alone than being around people that make you feel alone. So that's all I got to say, you guys. And one more thing is that when you ditch these friends and when you move on, you don't need to make a big deal out of it. Right? You don't need to send them a text telling them why you're not going to hang out with them anymore. You don't need to call them up. You don't need to get in front of them and tell them this grandiose speech about why you're not going to be their friend and all this and all that. Just distance yourself from them. Whenever they invite you to do some of the same old dumb shit that you guys do, turn it down. Keep turning it down until they get a hint that you've moved on. So, ditch or lose your friends. Don't be afraid of being alone for a little bit. Take that alone time to develop yourself. Because by doing that and putting yourself in places and doing things that you actually like, that are actually beneficial for you and other people that do those things, you're going to meet the quality of person that you want to be friends with. The kind of people that you want in your life. And so pick your new friends wisely. Ditch or lose your friends. Don't fear being alone for a little bit. And really set up a good group of friends that embody what you want to become. All right? Hope I made that clear. Get out there, make things happen. Have a blessed day. Take care. Peace.